People don't know what it is, by the way.
Well, they're about to. So, Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Bulletproof pod. Today, we're going to be talking about a cool concept that I think people are a little unfamiliar with, like you were just saying, Craig, when we hit record, is in business, there's actually a nice book called Blue Ocean Strategies. And so there's Red Ocean Strategies, which is where many of us are familiar in dentistry, which is we're competing in existing marketplace. You're fighting for the same patients. You're offering similar services. You're battling over pricing, location, reputation, all the things. So that is a Red Sea opportunity where the waters are churning red because of all the blood, so to speak, metaphorically speaking. So a strategy that is written about the book is a blue ocean strategy. On the other hand, it's creating a new market space, trying to make the competition irrelevant because you're doing stuff so different, right? You're creating and capturing new demand. And Craig, I actually spoke about this a little bit this weekend in the, I was at that Inner Circle conference, and I was on stage as, I did maybe a 30-minute presentation, and just kind of talking about this specifically. Well, I'm not going to get into the reasons, but I was talking about it specifically in the context of the presentation. And you yourself said that you were just when I sent this topic over, you said you were just talking about this in your own life.
Literally yesterday.
Yeah. What's the wind up there?
So it was that most dentists, when they market, they go to the most common zones for marketing, and those are red ocean strategies. And the euphemism or the saying comes from blood in the water. So, right. When you see like tuna attacking bait fish, the water churns red, and another drop of red blood in a red ocean does not see it all. So imagine if you're using pay-per-click. All of us have the same unique ability to craft the most interesting slogan in like 30 characters or 20 characters.
Well, no, it's more than that, but yes, it's lines, but essentially you're competing on the commodity of text.
Right.
So
there's nothing. The only way to get more prevalence is to spend your way through it.
So I've broken this down just because I want to put this into core topics. So what we're going to discuss today is 5 areas where there is an arbitrage of a blue ocean strategy potentially. And we're just going to kind of ideate through some of these things in dentistry so that people don't get frustrated. And Craig, you and I know as coaching people, we sometimes see someone gets frustrated. Like, this isn't working. You hear this isn't working, so to speak. This marketing's not working. This isn't working. And sometimes it's just that there's not enough, it's too hard to capture the attention. I always say to people in marketing, it's not that you're not great at your job of dentistry. It's just no one knows what you're doing. Right?
Yeah, you're a big secret.
So the 5 things I broke it down to is marketing, just like you said. So we'll unpack that. There's demographics and site selection, right? There's the technology in your office or clinical procedures. Number 4 is the days you are open. And number 5 is talent acquisition, right? And so how do you deploy blue ocean strategies in those 5 things, which are pretty big? Since we've been talking about the marketing, let's just go back to that. Tell me where you think. So you just gave the example of a Red Sea strategy, which is, hey, let me compete with Google AdWords or just an AdSense ad, essentially. Do you know how, like in a metro area, Craig, do you know how much a click costs? Like, let's give a metro.
Yeah, I've seen that.
What would you say? Like, use Miami since it's closest to you. What would you guess a Miami is?
Like for dental implants?
Nope. Yeah. Okay. So dental implants or Miami dentist, let's just say.
I'm going to go with like $8 to $20 a click.
Yeah.
8 to 20.
So it's in something like Miami, I looked it up. It's about 20 to 25.
Okay, even worse. Yeah, right. Even worse.
In some cities, for example, I'm going to go outside the scope of dentistry for a second, but injury lawyer in New York, or actually, where was it that I looked it up?
Orlando. I saw Orlando when I was
in Orlando. It was Orlando. Yeah. So was $200 click.
Right.
So
then
much
billboard,
so,
that's why the billboards are all filled with PI attorneys, because
100%.
it's so much better to at least have your friends and family say, hey, Jerry Steinberg, I saw your face on the personal injury billboard. That's actually better than a pay-per-click. So at least put your face up there. It makes you feel better.
It got so, and I need to find
Who's
this.
Jerry Steinberg, by the way?
I don't know who Jerry Steinberg is.
I don't know. It sounds like the owner of the Yankees or something. Steinbrenner. I don't know. It's just.
Oh, yeah. Steinbrenner.
I was just thinking Steinberg.
It's not Jerry, it's George.
Whatever. Don't correct me.
Anyway, so funny that you just said that about the billboards. I actually saw an injury. It was on Twitter where I saw this, or X, and the ad, someone screenshotted the ad, and it was an injury lawyer. It was like, hey, here we do this, and it said in the ad, don't click on this ad though.
Yeah, it's great.
Like literally, like, hey, we're here, but don't click on this because it would cost a shit ton of money. And I gotta find
awesome.
that. I gotta find that. Actually,
that is awesome.
I wish you could Google on the sly.
Yeah, we need a Jamie.
That'd be great.
We need
a
Jamie.
All right. Okay. So expensive clicks, right? And so Craig, going back to the Bulletproof marketing pyramid, you and I always hear of people being like, hey, you know what? I'm ready for some new patients. I'm gonna do marketing, right? Which immediately they go to the top of our pyramid, which is paid ads. And meanwhile, you're paying $30 a click only to send someone to a mediocre website with mediocre reviews and mediocre this and mediocre that. And then they hit back and you just blew $30. So when you give your marketing people a budget and say, hey, I've got a $1,500 paid ads budget, imagine how quickly you can exhaust if you don't have specificity to the long tail keywords in which you're telling them you want, and you're just saying, hey, just get me some clicks. You can imagine how quickly you will exhaust a $1,500 budget with $30 clicks that don't convert. Yep. Therefore, it turns into, this isn't working, right? My marketing is not working. This stinks. My marketing company is not working. So what do you do in a red ocean strategy? Well, just like you said, with attention, you have to seek underpriced attention. Eyeballs are not created equal, so to speak. So, whereas you're competing against words as a commodity in click paid ads in Google AdWords, you should be looking for other opportunities where there's underpriced attention. And where you and I have seen the most underpriced attention is where?
In video.
In video. Why would you say that is the case, Craig?
Well, it's just that it's difficult to do. And even amongst our masterminders, shout out Danny, love you, Danny, our buddy Danny. I don't want to mention his last name, but Danny and I, he's a second or third time masterminder. And, whether it's looking for an associate or getting someone to join his practice, I'm always on him. Danny, shoot a video. Just doesn't have to be professional. Take your iPhone, use a good quality microphone. And Danny's a good example of everybody else saying like, oh, geez, I hate doing it. I'm not good at it. I don't feel comfortable. And the difference is, and I want to give another shout out to Chris Alpers. Chris was looking for an associate in Scottsdale, and he had an Indeed ad, and he shot a video. So what we're talking about marketing. We can open the aperture, not to just
don't go to talent acquisition yet. Remember, that was one of my 5. That's the last one.
Okay, but I'm just saying, just the video marketing is something that people just don't feel comfortable to do. So therefore, you're in a blue ocean because people 100%. Are not willing to do it.
Look at how many dentists, and if you're listening to this as a Bulletproof listener, go to your town and go to other people's websites. And if you're not stalking other dentist websites in your town, are you really trying? Just kidding. But go to their site and look for things like clip art. And do they even have a picture of themselves as the doctor? I got to tell you, like 50% of the time when I auditing websites, it's like a random picture of a doctor. But like with that, Craig, that's not a compelling thing, right? Like just a picture of the doctor is not a compelling reason to come in.
Well, there's an order of magnitude worse, Peter, and that is a generic picture of a dentist, and it's not even the doctor.
I have seen that.
So
too.
What's more common, the most common thing is Acme Website Company will make you a website that they made for literally everybody else in your area. and they will put a doctor in scrubs, like doing like one of these, in his blue scrubs. And then there's a woman like happily eating salad. And that's the worst possible scenario, because at least you see a stock image of a very handsome or very beautiful doctor. And then you meet me and you're like, where's the stud that we saw on the website? Like that guy was a stud. Now I'm going to see you. So I think the worst possible thing and the most common thing is a stock image of a doctor.
Right. And then I think the next would be no picture.
The next level up, no picture.
Right.
And then the third level would be the picture, like the real estate picture of you when you're 24 and now you're 55.
True.
So
okay.
not an age-relevant doctor. And then the highest order of magnitude, or then the next level, if we're going to go consecutively, would be like you interacting with your team. So now it shows you some static image of you actually doing something, or, a collage of you and your family and your kids and your dog and your team. And
that's
you
another level up, right? And so what's the apex? Like the
apex is, hey, it's Dr. Craig. And the reason why I became a dentist is because I love treating patients. I love taking my patients on a transformative journey where they're afraid to smile and now they're smiling. And I've been doing it for 15 or 20 years. So I have hundreds of happy patients. I want you to be a happy patient. Contact the office. I look forward to meeting you.
30 seconds, right? And so what can you tell in that, right? So humans have an innate ability. I think it's less than 20%. I don't know the exact stat. Maybe it's 17% of what we how we communicate is nonverbal. So like 80+% of how we communicate is nonverbal. So in that video, Craig, people who are highly scared to come to the dentist, have not been there in a while, are looking for someone that is friendly, empathetic, right? But they can't get that from the stock image. They can't get that from the picture, right? So just putting a 30-second video on your profile will categorically change your perception.
Well, let's just take a step backwards for a second. We live inside of dental offices. So they're actually the smells, the sounds, the noises. We don't really hear all that anymore. We're not understanding what the major concerns of the dental patient are. If you went out like man in the street and went up to a bunch of people and said, what are the 3 reasons or 4 reasons why you don't want to go to the dentist? Everybody will say 4 things, 3 or 4 things. It'll be the rarity of like, I love my dentist. It's amazing. I look forward to it. It's typically like, well, it's scary. It's expensive. I don't trust them. I'm nervous. They judge me. So you have to speak to that. So if you understand that a restaurant is advertising to get people to come to it, a hotel is advertising people to come to it, and all they have to do is saying, this is not only going to be good, it's going to be great. So, hey, you thinking about going on vacation? Come to the Bahamas. It's better in the Bahamas. So it's a positive thing that they're marketing. What we're having to do is surmount a massive predisposed negative perception. So if your marketing can speak to that, we know that dentistry can be unfortunate. We know it's been a long time. We know you may be scared. We know you might be worried about the costs. Well, at Jones Family Dental, blank.
Step in front of it.
Step in front of it. So it's like that story of the marketing. So you can't just say like, come to us. We're awesome. It doesn't matter. You have to speak to the preconceived understanding of the patient. And they're scared.
We strive for patient excellence and the caring environment, like the slogan that everyone seems to have.
Or even worse than that, the worst order, since we're talking about worst to best, the worst is where you talk about the doctor's awards and degrees. He graduated, and listen, I love Coyce and Banky and all these people, but to the patient, that means F all. Like he graduated from the esteemed, Coyce and blah, blah, blah.
That was, sorry to cut you. That was actually one of the topics of this weekend. Like I said, I did lecture and it was kind of going over, it was like a TED talk, Craig, and it was going over like the 4 phases of my career. And I was saying like, here's where I made a mistake early on. It was me, nucleus of everything. How many fellowships can I get? Because that means I'll get, more patients and my business will prosper and I'll be wealthier. Me. Look at my advertising. Me. right? And then there was an inflection point, and just like you're saying, where you flip that on its head, and you don't become the focus. The patient journey, you become the guide, they become the hero, and you flip that on its head, and that becomes a paradigm.
And I think, Peter, if we're going to analyze it a little bit deeper too, I think many dentists, if they're being just fully transparent, they are advertising to other dentists to show them, I am better than you.
100%.
So like if you read even the Instagram pages, like a lot of people that are just with their Instagram page, are you trying to attract a dentist following, or are you trying to get more patients? And you have to really be honest about that. Really audit
this
that.
This is a whole pot on itself.
No, but just audit it. Look at your story. Look at the pictures of the prepped teeth. It is actually antithetical to patients wanting to come, because the minute you post the preps, the veneer prep that you have booked for next week, are you going to put my teeth to nubs as well?
Are you going to make me have cat teeth? Like your picture?
Are you going to make
teeth? Cat teeth is the funniest comment, by the way.
I like nub them.
No,
are you going to cut them to nubs?
I had someone come in and be like, "Hey, I don't want to get cat teeth," and I was like, "What's cat teeth?"
And we gently sculpt them.
So,
but I'm just
Craig,
saying,
you bring up something.
Audit your marketing to notice who you're marketing towards.
Audit your marketing. And you brought up something about patients when they haven't come in. Like, we get desensitized to our environment and things like, oh, my website's good enough and my office is good enough. But like, there are 5 senses that we have. God gave us 5 senses. And when we are scared or nervous or have a little anxiety, what happens to those senses? They get amplified. It's a preservation thing. So the
fight
dust
or
ball,
flight, you can smell everything. When you're in fight or flight, everything, you're acutely aware of everything. You literally you freeze when you're in fight or flight,
because it's a protection mechanism, right? It's a primitive protection mechanism. So your vision gets better, your hearing gets better, your smell gets better, your touch, everything becomes more aware. And so the dust bunny that didn't bother you and your employees that you pass by every day, or the dirty bathroom, or the messy sterilization, or this and that and the other, we become accustomed to our environment. Like you said, Craig, we stop noticing things. So that is a great audit. I think that is a blue ocean strategy, is audit your environment like you are obsessed with the fact, and that today is someone's first visit that hasn't been to the dentist in 10 years, and they are shit. They're scared. They're scared. So, okay. I think we spent long on that one. So video is underpriced attention. Do it. Just start with it. I looked at some of the video I did I was looking for, because you had said something about just randomly, you'd said something about me and karaoke. And so there was a thing on YouTube where I was at a dental conference and I was doing like a whole thing, and there was a big video on it, and I couldn't find it on YouTube. But what I did find, Craig, on my YouTube channel, what I did find though is videos that I had done in 2005.
Yeah. I got them too. We should edit them in right now. Original
and
ones from you and me.
When I say cringe isn't even the proper adjective to describe. It is so bad. It is so bad. And I was so proud at the time. So my point is that like, perfection, you're not going to be perfect with these videos, and don't let that be the impediment to your progress. So just, the Dannys of the world, just walk to an operatory. Hey, I'm going into this case. It's going to be a cool day. Check you later. Right. In a social media, right. Just get in the habit of start repetitions, and you're going to look back and say, oh, that was cringy, but you're going to get better, 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 better.
Oh yeah. Reps. I was doing a bunch of video content yesterday, and it's like if I ever needed a self-esteem boost, it was going to be with these people, because all 4 of them, like, oh my God, you're so good. I'm like, dude, I've just been doing this. 2005, what is a crown? 2007, does Invisalign really work? I was just this little kid. I mean, like, just winging it, like no microphone, cameras wobbling, I just remember.
Sound was terrible. You sounded like in a bathtub.
And it was so hard. It was so hard to do it. So now it's so damn easy.
Right.
But listen, it's I would never think that What is the Dental Crown would get 100,000 views, but that's what it was like back then.
100%. All right, so stay with marketing, and then we'll keep going. That one took a little longer. Another opportunity I see, and this one we won't spend time on because it's a very niche topic. But going back to the search term of like Atlanta dentist, like I want to rank for Atlanta dentist or Delray Invisalign. Getting into the science of long tail keywords, and I know I'm getting a little bit niche here, but it is a really cool thing. If you go to ubersuggest.com, you can actually look at some of your SEO. It's free tools, and they will give you ideas where there's long tail keywords. So Craig, what's an example of a long tail keyword? Do you know?
Not off the top of my head.
Okay. So like what a long tail keyword is people don't search Atlanta dentist. They type in who is the best Atlanta dentist who does veneers kind of thing. Long tail keywords are sentence structures that people type in. And so using long tail keywords where the competition is low, but the conversion is high are prevalent. You just got to do the work. So it's much harder to rank for Delray Invisalign than it is the best Invisalign dentist in Delray. That makes sense?
Yeah, I didn't realize that, but yeah.
Oh, it's way easier. Long tail keywords are where it's at. The problem why people don't do it, Craig, is because they just want their main page, right, Delray implants, to rank really high. And so because of that, everyone's competing in the SERPs, search engine ranking profile, to try and get theirs on page 1 or position 1.
An acronym I've never heard before, SERP.
You never heard SERPs?
No, I thought that was scaling root planing.
No, that's SRP. Yeah, so just put another E in there. But SERPs, yeah, search engine ranking profile is where you're going to be there. But that's a whole different topic. But long tail, if you are good at blogging or good at leveraging a little AI and you want to have some cool topics and you have a blog section on your website, you can rank really easily and quickly for long tail keywords, and you can get that intel. I tell you, let me give it one hint, one tip. Have you ever seen in Google where it says, and on the bottom when you're searching for something, and it says, and people also search? You ever seen that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So all those are pop down things, and that's what people are typing in, and Google's telling you. So you can actually use those recommendations and create a blog post based on what Google's saying. People also search for this, right? That is an easy hack to just start whipping out content.
Yeah, it's like on Amazon when they say, customers who bought this would like this. Yeah, suggested marketing. It's awesome.
So it leaves clues. Okay. That I figured you just got my marketing stuff wound up. I could have gone on with Blue Ocean marketing strategies for a long time, but we're moving on to something that you checked out recently, which was your demographics, where you choose to set up practice or open a practice or acquire a practice is I want to say is more predictive of how you will do in the future than almost anything else.
Agreed. Yeah, agreed. If you sell water where people are thirsty, you'll have the biggest water business ever.
It's so true, right? And so unfortunately, so many people, and I think this is shifting a little bit because I've done a lot of associate interviews lately because I'm hiring in all the places, and I'm seeing it shift a little bit. I think it used to be that everyone wanted to live in the city so they could go out to eat with their friends and blah, 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 right? So they wanted to all practice in the red ocean and all compete for the same patient base, right? That's where everyone wanted to go when they graduated. So I always say, like, skate where the puck is going. If let's say you live in Charlotte, right? And the outskirts of Charlotte are going to be booming in a northbound scenario. It might behoove you to open, to be looking at somewhere that you like, in 4 years, this place is going to blow up. So not only do you get the arbitrage of cheaper land and cheaper real estate, you get the expansion of being a first mover advantage.
Of course.
And how do you find
out where that Starbucks is going too?
Yeah.
I mean, hitch on to other people's demographics. I want to give a shout out to Denographics because they just did that study for me. Mm-hmm. That was super robust. So thank you for the introduction, Pete.
You're welcome.
It was really neat, but it's like, if you can hitch onto other demographics. So you got dentographics showing concentration of dentists in a certain area, median household income, and all that good stuff. But then you cross-reference that with like, okay, Starbucks is going in, plus a Mercedes-Benz dealership, plus 340 new houses.
That's what I'll say. You can do roofs under construction, right? You can do roofs under construction, they call it. And so that's a skate where the puck is going. And I feel like that's
blue. That's the definition of blue.
That is the definition. There you go. And I feel like that's not spoken enough in our industry. Craig, I actually had Dentographics. So I've known them forever and ever, right? I've known Kent, shout out, for forever. And he's done. And so I've gotten so enamored with, I was agnostic to expansion once upon a time. And I was like, hey, instead of like, how does this site look, Kent? I said, hey, run me a North Georgia, right? From here all the way up to the top of the state. Find me the most underpriced or
tell me where they need a dentist.
Tell me where they need a dentist. Kind of. And right. And so it was a pretty exhaustive thing, but it came up with like, hey, this town has 10,000 people and has no dentist.
Right.
And I was like, when I say I was obsessed with like this.
Right. So you put any ordinary dental practice in there, it'll do good.
But you win by default. And I'm okay with that.
I'm going to talk about another blue ocean strategy that I didn't see in your agenda, or maybe I did and I don't have my glasses on. The blue ocean strategy of making your dental office look and feel like a non-dental office. So there is, I was recently touring around with a buddy of mine at a bunch of his practices. Actually, he's got like 7 or 8 practices. And it's not by us, but it was not in Florida, but it's in an area that was somewhat affluent. And I just, as I went from practice to practice, and I like him, he's been a good friend of mine for a long time. I literally went into each one and be like, holy hell, I would never go get my teeth cleaned here. I would actually fear that it was not clean. I would be nervous. Like if I was a fearful patient, I would not want to fly on. I mean, not fly on this, but be a patient of this practice. And speaking of flying, that's
go to that analogy. I love that.
So it's like Stephen Kelleher of Southwest Airlines said, if the cabin is not well kept, if the seats have tears in the upholstery, people are worried about the engines, because same thing like flying. And there's a commonality of flying in dentistry, and probably a little heightened right now because we had a mid-air collision, which hasn't happened in a long time. People are scared to fly. And they don't understand. They don't know the pilot. They can't see him. They never met him. There's no video. Imagine a video of the pilot comes on like live, like, hey, it's Captain Rob. And I've been flying for 20 years and, I love flying, and flying's my passion. So, you're going to have a great flight today, but there's going to be a little turbulence over Kansas. So don't worry, nothing major. And that level of rich content that would show on instead of the default, like cheesy buckle your seatbelt thing. People, I say patients, but people would fly that airline because of that. Same thing, dentistry. So patients come to our practice and they see the old chair and they see the x-ray machine that when they take an x-ray, it dims the lights like you're on the Green Mile, like someone's being electrocuted, takes up so much wattage of your system that lights go down when they zap you with the x-ray machine, or the unkept appearance of the reception area. People get scared and you don't know it. Because people come and they say, I love you. You've been a great dental office. And I just love this place. But what you don't hear is when they go to refer you, they say, yeah, it's kind of run down, but it's okay. The doc's great. They're honest. But then a lot of patients don't want that. So you have to give the consumer what they want. And they need reassurance that your facility is up to date, modern, because they equate that with safety. And that's a blue ocean strategy.
Yeah, and maybe not so much modern, right? Maybe if you're listening to this and you're like, I don't need to be modern. I'm in a rural community, but everyone appreciates clean, right? And so many times
there's a halo of tech, though. I use the word modern because of technology. When patients get scanned by any scanner, their level of treatment acceptance goes up holistically.
Okay,
just the sheer act of scanning somebody.
Yeah,
that's why all the DSOs
it's
are
a vicarious lift, right?
Right. It's a halo effect. Those are my teeth. Wow, that machine. What do you use that for? So technology actually matters, and there's a lot of dentists that are listening to this saying, well, I'm in Missouri and my patients are this. My patients don't care. They don't mind 2-visit dentistry. They don't mind getting goopy impressions. No one minded taking taxis, and then Uber comes around and now everybody minds. So taxi drivers were literally paying $1 million for medallion to ride a taxi. And everybody was waiting on a list to get a medallion to be a New York City taxi driver.
It's
and
so
then
true.
One day, everything changed.
It's so true that, it's a term that I make myself say out loud a lot of times. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, is this a confirmational bias, right? So you're looking for things in your life to confirm the way you feel. And so you hear this in dentistry. I think we say, my patients don't mind is a confirmational bias. They totally care. You just don't think they do, right? And so you're saying, oh, they don't care because now your action is nothing. You have to do nothing, right?
Or they like you. They like you and they like me. They come for me, and that's cool. But if you have aspirations, you're listening to this podcast for a reason. You probably have aspirations of becoming a dental business and not just a dentist. Right. That's why you'd be listening to something like this. At least you may not know if you want to do it, but you're exploring doing it. If you want to build a business, you have to understand that it has to be built on things that are beyond you. If it's built around you, you're just going to build a successful practice around you, and that may not be what you want to do.
And you talk about a blue ocean strategy, right? I would encourage everyone listening to this to audit how many internal referrals you're getting. If you're not getting 25 to 30 to 40% of your new patient base being referred by your existing patient base, then there's probably some work to do, either from your experience, your facility, like Craig's saying. Things are not as smoky as you think. Okay, so you just talked about my number 3 topic was a blue ocean strategy would be the technology in your office. And you just illustrated how you can get a lift from just having cool tech, right? Even something as simple as scanning. Another blue ocean would be like, if you're in a town full of a bunch of general dentists or tons of cosmetic dentists, where is the differentiation point? And sometimes it can be things like, just a clinical procedure, or we have 3D printers, or we do same day veneers, or we do whatever it is, but looking for something that is a clinical blue ocean. And that unfortunately you will have to define, but it can as well be, right?
Yeah, I agree with that, Peter. And that's a really good topic to bring up. The problem with a clinical blue ocean strategy, wonderful. You have to get that secret out.
Right.
So, just because you think I'm going to do Botox.
Which is back to number 1, Craig.
Which is back to number 1. So these are all kind of dependent on each other. So you have a blue ocean office, it's up to date. You have a blue ocean clinical strategy. You still need to go back to 1, which is get it out there, or else you'll be the biggest secret. You know how many patients in my clinical career, like, I had no idea you do sedation. I wish I would have known. And it's actually the fault of our practice too. Right. When people say I'm just scared, and I'm like, oh, really? At my office, when I get my teeth cleaned, I get nitrous. You guys do that for cleanings? You can do nitrous oxide for clean. You're allowed to give nitrous for cleanings?
You're allowed to sedate for this. I would sedate you for a cleaning.
Yeah, if you need it.
But that is the metaphorical gut punch. And I think there's a bigger line that people have said to you in your career that is a bigger gut punch than that even. What is it?
I didn't know you were accepting new patients.
Bam. We did not rehearse that.
We've been working together for too long.
Dude, I get that used to literally make me nauseous.
I had a famous person yesterday, very, very famous, text me, and I'm so excited about the relationship I have with this person. Could you do me a huge, huge favor? I hate to ask this of you. Could you get my friend in for a new patient because they need new teeth? So can you do me a favor? Can I send you another famous, well-respected person to spend an inordinate amount of money? If he would have just said like, hey, would you give me $5,000 to refer it? I know you can't because it's a Stark law. Right, let's just say we live in an alternate universe. Hey, Craig, I'm a business person. I'm going to send you a $70,000 or $90,000 makeover connected to me, very influential person, but I want you to give me $5,000. I'd be like, okay. Right? I mean, Pete, would you
but
say
instead
yes?
Instead, like the law of reciprocity, right?
Right. But would you do that? Would you do that? I know this is just an alternate universe because there's Anti-Patient Brokering Act. But if there was a situation in an alternate universe where someone said, I will send you a full mouth reconstruction, but you're going to have to pay me for $5,000 every time they close. Yeah. Like,
duh.
but
Well,
instead
I mean, look,
it was like, do me a huge favor. Help me get this person
you're
in.
like, I'll do it just for you. I'll do it.
Right.
I will do
And I
it for
said,
you because
listen,
I love you.
Thanks for placing your trust in us, and I'll rearrange the schedule to accommodate them.
It's so good.
Yeah, but it's just, that's the biggest, it's such a crazy thing.
All right, let's go to number 4.
That could work to our advantage, by the way. That could work to our advantage.
Unpack.
So I go to restaurants all the time, and I walk in and like, yeah, we're not, you could wait for a table for 20 minutes.
You are a restaurant snob. I've never seen someone like you.
And no one is sitting there. They just do it to you. They just hold you there. I literally was at a sushi place like a week ago on Thursday night, and I walked in like, are you a guest of the hotel? I'm like, no, but I was here for an event. Okay, we'll let you in. And then I'm like, can you seat us? Because it's a school night. The kids are with me. It was like 8:00. I wanted to get in and get out. I'm like, yeah, we can get you in, but it's going to be about 20 minutes. I look around. The whole restaurant is freaking empty. And they seat me after 15 minutes at a table that was open when I was there. And it was just like, but there is something about, the cosmetic surgeons, we're a year out. People want that.
Well, look, I mean, that's the whole nightclub thing, right? Like,
yeah.
They could let you in, but they want lines to aggregate because we are lemmings at the end of the day. And we're like, wait, this looks amazing. If there's a wait, it must have value, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's a Cialdini principle.
I think it does work to our advantage at some aspect.
The next thing I have on the list is, is your days open, right? And so this was something I identified actually right when I opened up my own practice, 2004. I identified that, and I was like, every dentist seems to be open Monday through Thursday. And I was like, I'm going to take a page out from the hairstylist. They're never open on Monday, but they're always slammed on Friday kind of thing. And I was like, let's try this. So, I think in dentistry, everyone is attracted to the business of dentistry or the industry of dentistry because we do 4-day work weeks. I said that in the audience this weekend, and there was like clapping. All the ladies were like, yeah, that's exactly right. Right. So don't ask your team to do 5 days kind of thing.
Unless they want to.
Right. But an easy hack is like, again, Fridays are uncrowded. And Craig, Fridays were always, lo and behold, my busiest day throughout my career, right? Because I was
it's interesting. We're not that busy on Fridays for some reason. It's our slowest day.
Maybe the jig is up, and maybe most offices are open Friday now. But anyway, that was just another idea of like, and you could extrapolate that to nights and weekends kind of thing if you wanted, right? The weekend thing is tough.
But it never worked for us.
But it worked. No, it doesn't work because you live in the Sunshine State. And so the first I guess you always have sunny days, but like everyone has ambitions. Like, I'm going to do it on a Saturday. I'm going to go get my teeth cleaned on a Saturday. And then like your friend calls like, hey, you want to go
have some rosé at brunch?
You want to go on the boat? Yeah. Like, oh, I just have a dental appointment. Oh, I can bail on that. No problem.
Mm-hmm.
All right. The last thing I have, and these examples get a little less strong as we go. But I think that there is a blue ocean strategy when it comes to talent acquisition. And you touched on this a little bit, not only for your team, but I mean, obviously we talked about patient, but talent is hard to obtain. As we all know, good talent is hard to obtain. It was really hard a couple of years ago, right? With the post-COVID kind of stuff when no one was working and no one had to work, right? And hygienists were quitting left and right because they didn't want to go back to the industry. So we were all in this like Red Sea of like, I'll take anybody kind of thing. Remember that era?
I know it well.
And, we're obviously, thank God, we're out of that time period and we're back to getting very qualified applicants. But like, how do you, Craig, if you were a hygienist, let's just say, okay, or let's make you actually, if you were an amazing assistant, right, an all-star assistant, Craig, the all-star assistant, and you just had moved into there, you had your choice to be like, I want to go work in a new office, and honestly, any office that you went to, you would lift it. The office would become better just because of you. And you knew that about yourself. What would you do as an audit of how would you go searching for said job?
I think I wish prospective employees did more of this. I wish they thought the way you did and the way you described. And I wish they interviewed us actively versus just we interviewing them. I think most employees don't understand the power of a good office, of a culture that allows for growth. And they choose what is this per hour. And I think you gotta, when you're talking about opportunity, you want to think about long-term opportunity. And if I would seek out an office that has great culture, I would not talk to the boss. I'd ask for a day. I'd give a day of my time, because at the end of the day, making a mistake is going to be too costly. So I'd actually say, can I shadow for that day? I will not see patients. I'm a hygienist. I won't see patients, but I'd like to spend 3 or 4 hours here, and I'd like to talk to the hygienist. I'd ask him how the culture is. I'd ask him how the growth is. I'd ask him how their earning potential is. I'd ask them all those questions. You know, I'd be very curious to hear the answers of it. And it's amazing when I get some associates who want to work with me, and they'll drop a resume, and I'll call them, because I usually, if it looks like a good resume, I'll call them. Even if I'm not looking, I'll call and get to know them. And they've not even done the first thing. They've not even Googled.
Have you been to our website? No.
Nope.
No. Have you seen our social media?
Nope.
No. What about any videos? You watched any of those?
No.
You have videos?
Yeah. Oh. Tell me what type of dentistry do you do here? It's all available online. Like if I go to a restaurant, again, the restaurant analogy, and I'm sorry that I'm so into restaurants, but I will know if it's sushi or if it's Italian, but I'm not trying to work there. But I'm
that's a great point, actually.
Craig. I wouldn't go for dinner. I wouldn't tell you, hey, let's go to Yokohama. What is it? It's sushi. I checked the reviews. You know me and you, when we travel, we go to a good rated, but now you're looking for a job and you didn't even go to the Google map to see this is a 2.2. Why do you want to work here?
Yeah.
So it's not be interesting, be interested.
And honestly, so let's just say a thoroughbred did that, right? Someone was like, I didn't have time. But you, because you've geared your entire career towards that, are slightly butthurt and a little bit miffed that someone didn't spend the diligence to do that. So therefore, there's immediate disconnect. And so I guess the reason I was bringing this up is that that your culture, the things that you do for your team is an attractant for good players, right? That's a blue ocean
for the
strategy.
Player that I want.
Right, that you want, right? Your social media is a blue ocean attractant, not only for new patients, but also for people who can resonate with that, and they know themselves. They can self-identify as A players. Right. So I think that there is blue ocean strategies. If people who bellyache about we can't find good people, it's like what metaphorical traps are you setting? For these people, or what nets, maybe a nets is a better word. Like what net are you setting to get these people into your, the awareness of what your team is, your office is, your culture is, your direction is, your, all these things. So, again, maybe that was probably the weakest blue ocean, but offices who can nail talent acquisition, Craig, and have systems to onboard correctly and attract A players, I've never met one that doesn't do well. Never. Literally, and we've coached, almost 200 practices now between me and you, and I've never seen someone who's great at talent acquisition and great with their team and they're great with their culture who isn't thriving. Never. Not one time. Have you?
Never.
Can you think of anyone? No.
Never. It's all intentionality. It's always intentionality. The entrepreneurial journey is a real kick in the crotch, by the way. It's a real kick in the crotch. You have this, and it's reminiscent of a post I just did. You have this fantasy of what things could be. You envision something new and different. You have to be new and different. That's the blue ocean. You have to envision something new and different. And then you have to bring that to the consumer, and hopefully they find value in your fantasy. And chances are they're not going to adopt to it right away. There's going to be a lot of naysayers, and you have to keep evolving and pivoting and grow into the business that serves the community. And you're going to get a lot of good and negative feedback. It's your job as the entrepreneur to pivot and grow and have it suit the profession and your the community. It's really hard.
Did you see it? And I'm sure you did. I did just a post on the power of proximity of people on your team. recently on, I think I just posted on Instagram. I was like, I should probably just talk about this.
No, I didn't see it.
Okay. So basically it was talking about the effects of A players, underperformers on your team, let's just say, and the powers of overperformance. And so here it is. So there was a study done at Northwestern in 2017 that looked at the effect of, they put high performing person in next to another high performer. And what happened? There was a lift of about 15%. Okay. So just by being in the surrounding space, like sharing the same oxygen kind of thing, there's a lift. But that same experiment, when they put them around a C player, let's just say, what do you think the performance degradation was?
It's larger
30%.
than much larger.
So
the deleterious effects of a poor performer are far more dangerous than the uplift of a good one.
There you go.
So we are attracted to the apple spoils the whole bunch. One good apple cannot transform the bunch, but one bad can ruin everything.
Yeah. So this is why this goes back to, talent acquisition, and far from the days of I'll take anybody, we just need a warm body kind of thing. Warm bodies are sometimes very toxic to your environment. All right, that's it, bud. Blue ocean opportunities. I think we gave a lot of bangers. I think we gave us a lot of pearls. I wish you hadn't bailed on me. I wish you hadn't bailed on me at the conference in Orlando this past weekend. You told me you were coming and you didn't.
Yeah, no, but listen, I'm a fan of CareStack now. I think we got him as a new sponsor for our summit. So
there's a platform I'm going to show you.
I'm going to get the tattoo and all of it. I'm going to go to Mumbai for their designer conference.
I tell you, there is something that they're working highly with, and I won't disclose it yet, but when I get you involved in this, and
I want to see it.
It's the platform and business dashboard. Like it's like a Power BI. Do you know what a BI is? Business intelligence.
Yeah.
It's like Power BI that you can bolt on with and it's EBITDA and net. I mean, it'll blow your mind.
No, I'm excited.
I can't wait to show you.
Yeah. I just migrated my software from Dentrix to Open Dental. So the idea through going through another one is like brain damage.
No. Well, you don't even have to switch. What I'm talking about with this,
you don't bolt on top.
You don't have, it's agnostic to the PMS. So you can use it still. It's really good this is what a lot of the DSOs are kind of jumping on. And it was developed by 2 CPAs. So it's integrated with QuickBooks. Anyway, I'm excited to talk about this. I'm not going to disclose what it is yet because I want to fully vet it before we're talking about it on Bulletproof. Don't forget, August 8th and 9th, we actually already have Craig. We are 3/4 of the way, I think, at capacity with the summit now, believe it or not. I looked
That's
it up.
amazing. Bring your team. Yeah. Most important thing, Erica just had the office manager retreat.
Yeah. Tell me about that. But that was for the masterminders, right?
Yeah. So the masterminders, we work with you as a masterminder, you as a doctor to improve your performance and your practice. But then there's this office manager, and this office manager needs to be leveraged. They're the integrators. So the things you hate doing in your practice, there's somebody likely there in your practice that loves doing that stuff. So this is a powerful partnership. And the office managers all came from all over Alaska and all over the country and came down to Florida and spent 2 days with Erica. And it was really cool because we got the feedback from them. So now we take that feedback of like what's driving you crazy and what is getting in the way. And then we coach the doctors. So it's basically like marriage counseling for your office. And next weekend, the hygienists all come down.
Right.
So, it's the power of communication alignment will take the office to another level.
But, I think you and I learned this late in our career is that, rowing the boat by yourself and expecting something to change or your speed to increase or your business to grow is a fool's errand.
Yeah.
Right. It's when you start incorporating the leverage of, putting a lot of people on a boat, starting to row with you. That's why we're always like, bring your team, send your team, join the mastermind, send your team, get all on the same page. That's when it like all of a sudden it's like, this is easy and fun versus like, no one understands what I go through kind of thing.
Yeah, no, I know.
So
I was engaging on
I'll see you. I'll see you in 10 minutes. We got speaking of mastermind, we got our mastermind call, bulletproofsummit.com. And I'll see you actually next weekend as well for the BP Health Summit.
Oh, that's awesome. Thanks for putting this together, Pete. This was a good one. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
Talk to you soon.
All right, everybody. We'll see you later.
Thank you for listening.